What's going on, everybody? It's Dot Bets. We're checking back in. Welcome back to the On the Dot podcast for July 14th. This is your sports betting podcast to give you insights and strategies proven to get proven results in the sports gambling industry. We welcome back our co-hosts, as always, Sidekick Picks. How are we feeling tonight?
Real good. How are you doing?
Man, we have a very, very exciting show for episode 2 of the On the Dot podcast. We are ready to go. We are going to have a little discussion over the wild, wild west of gambling Twitter, and then we will get into our AFC West breakdown. However, before that, we have a little partnership, little announcement we're going to go ahead and say. Sidekick, you want to do the honors right here?
Sure. So we have partnered with one of the best gambling tools, and they're fairly new, but their program is top notch, and they've already eclipsed 50,000 followers on Twitter. Like they're a good product. So we have partnered with props.cash.
Woo!
Oh, yeah. I'm excited about that.
If you guys have been following me on Twitter, I pretty much am already tagging them for free. I don't even care. I love their product so much. And we got this deal going. Promo code on the dot. You get 25% off your first monthly fee there. Your initial purchase, which is 25% off of $19.99. And then it's only $20 a month. I mean, that's a steal in my opinion. Absolute steal for the amount of data that they have on their site. It is not only MLB, it's not only NFL. You got NBA, you got WNBA, you have CSGO. Then you also have there's one more.
Hockey.
Can't remember. They do have hockey. They do have hockey. Yeah. So I mean, it's a great tool. We are very, very excited to partner with them. And we will be doing live streams and showing off their models and everything like that once the NFL season goes on. So 25% off, use code on the dot, and we will get you guys all set up with props.cash.
Yeah, definitely worth it. It's a great tool, very user-friendly too. So
perfect. All right. So let's transition into the wild west of gambling Twitter. Basically, we want to just let you guys know what to look out for, not who to avoid, but what tendencies to avoid. A lot of people get started gambling through social media. It's easy to do. That's why there's a ton of cappers on gambling Twitter. There's a lot of gambling Twitter or cappers on Instagram, on TikTok. It's just wild. With the legalization of sports betting, you got to really understand the difference between a capper who's a winning capper and a capper that's literally just trying to steal your money. And we have some tendencies. Do you have anything in particular you want to just discuss about what tendency you look out for, or not look out for, but you would tell somebody to look out for?
Yeah, so I'll even give like a backstory. As I mentioned on the first show, I got into this, and I bought into VIP subscription and didn't know what to expect. So when I showed up in the Discord, there's probably like 10, 15 different people submitting picks. Nobody, I mean, they recap their own picks, but you can't see what they're doing or what they've done in the past. You can't see how much they're up. Sometimes the picks contradict one another, and you just kind of feel lost and overwhelmed. So I even reached out to the person that was running the Discord, and the advice I was given was to tail everything. Well, if there's 30 picks, I'm not tailing 30 picks, especially if they're contradicting one another. So when I started my own, we really wanted to focus on consolidating those picks. We're not going to give you 10 picks. We also want to track all of our plays. We want to track it by each sport. We want to track it by each capper that's providing picks. So that way you can kind of see who's doing well in what sport. So
Yep.
transparency to me is definitely the key.
That opens the door. That's like first and foremost. You have to literally be transparent. And it's unfortunate that some cappers do give us a bad name. And I'm not going to sit up here and say I'm almighty. I've never done anything crazy wrong. Like, yeah, have I not recapped a loss one night because I was probably a little bit hungover the next day or whatnot? Yeah, it just takes me a little while to,
Or even mad.
Yeah, and you're pissed off.
Sometimes I get
Exactly.
mad if I lose. So
I mean, I'm not only losing myself money, I'm losing my damn subscribers money. So that's where, I'm not going to sit on my high horse here, but these are just tendencies. Another thing that I try to tell people, number one, find somebody that fits your style of betting. That's probably the most, because that's where some people kind of rub people off the wrong way when they join a VIP and they don't like it, so they leave right away. Maybe that style of betting wasn't yours. So if you do like a lot of volume, find the capper that puts out a lot of volume. I'm not saying it's bad to throw out 10 plus plays. It's just very tough to be profitable long term doing it that way. So if you want to stick with him for a little bit, maybe catches a little bit of a fire run there, but long term, probably more than likely they're not going to be profitable. On my VIP, you're there. You're going to get 2 to 4 plays a day, and I call it quits. Sometimes it's only one. Sometimes you don't even get a play because I don't like the board. I'm not going to force anything. So you really just have to find the capper that fits your style of betting. That's what I've told my following, because some people are like, "Hey man, I just need more volume," and I'm said, "That's fine. I'm not your guy then. No way."
See, and that's really good advice too. Like for basketball, college basketball, I do a lot of teasers. Some people don't like to play multiple games, and sometimes they may not have the book that you're using, so they can't get half the bets that I put out there because I do a lot of prop bets that you may only find on DraftKings or FanDuel.
Yep. And then another tendency or advice: someone with a big following doesn't necessarily mean that they're a legit capper. Some guys have been in the business for a while. Some people buy followers. Some people are very good at entertaining people. However, if you look at their long-term results, you look at what they've been doing, it's not very good. Probably sometimes you won't even be able to find them. So just be wary. I know that there's very good cappers out there with tons of big followings. I'm not trying to call anybody out. I just have seen this where people buy followers. People go to their VIPs. They come to either a couple other cappers VIPs that I know and say, that guy lost me this much money. But you would never know that because you go to his page and you don't see anything. So just be wary of the bigger followings accounts. Just try to always get your ducks in a row. Ask them for their records before giving anybody any money.
Yep. Which brings me to my other point is there's a thing on Twitter too where you can audit yourself.
Yeah, you can audit.
You can show the percentage of actual followers you have on Twitter. So if they're buying followers, which is, I mean, it's been going on for a while and it's starting to pop up again, ask them. I'll show you mine.
Yeah, it's crazy, man. Last one that I'll say is avoid, this is kind of obvious, I'd say, but just avoid the Maxwell 10 unit, lock of the century, lock of the month, lock of the day, lock of the year guys that just scream it in your face. I'm weary of those guys because they have a play of the month 4 times a month and it doesn't make any sense. So again, not trying to start anything, just tendencies that I've seen that kind of things that just rub me the wrong way, probably rub the consumer the wrong way as well.
And one thing that's been trending a lot too is those parlays, the max parlays. I mean, the number of tickets you have to play in order to hit a max parlay is absurd. So of course, when you hit one, you're going to show it all over Twitter. But what about the other ones you're playing?
You're talking about me, damn it.
No, you hit one.
I've hit one.
Nice.
I've only hit one. We can have a show about that one day. But
see, I haven't hit any like huge, massive parlay. But I also don't. That's not my betting style. So I don't play it like that.
So just to briefly touch on that, I had to get myself in a different mindset to start betting that way. I couldn't, for the longest time, get myself in a mindset to do that because I was like, I'll burn money. I'm just going to burn money if I do it. Luckily for me, it was like on like maybe the 7th or 8th one that I made. And I was just like, no way did this just happen. No way. And after that, I tried about 40 more times and I didn't even hit one single person. Like it is just so stupid lucky. The odds were like 1.2 million on it. I mean, it was just stupid. So I'm right there with Sidekick here.
They're
if people
fun.
they're
play them
awesome.
from time to time. Yeah.
Yes,
but
play them sparingly.
Yeah.
And I'm not going to sit up here and say, do not play parlays. Guys, I played them myself. I still play them myself. You just have to be disciplined and not put a full unit on them. And we're going to have plenty of more discussions on unit sizes, your bankroll management, because that's the biggest key right there.
Absolutely.
So that'll be that could be either next episodes or the following. So all right, enough rambling with gambling Twitter here. We are definitely going to dive in to the most elite division in the NFL. That is the AFC West. If you're looking on YouTube, you got the screen above me. You got Derek Carr, Russell Wilson, Mahomes, and Herbert all in the same division. There is a plus 1,800 odds for all 4 teams to hit the playoffs. I don't think that's going to happen. I want it to happen because that'd be legit. But I'm thinking 3 of the 4 are going to make it, not 4. With the expanded playoffs, I can see 3. And we'll tell you which one we don't like here. But this division is going to be a gauntlet. And shootouts galore. The pace of play in this division is going to be one we're going to definitely key in for DFS. And if you're going to do anything with fantasy football, you're going to want a lot of people from these teams. So, any thoughts before we dive in?
I'm right there with you. I'm pretty excited about this division. It just sucks that they're all in the AFC because I'm a Colts fan. So
very true. Very true.
They got to win the division or they're probably not going to get in. So,
man. All right. So we'll first start with the Las Vegas Raiders. Couple big questions here. Obviously, the addition of Davante Adams in the offseason, probably the biggest. And then you have new head coach Josh McDaniels coming over, whole new staff, whole new regime. You buying into Derek Carr this season. Why or why not?
I am not a Derek Carr believer, especially when you're matching him up against the other 3 guys in that division. I definitely think he's the number 4 quarterback in that division. Yeah, he had a decent season last year, but I don't know. I've never really bought into it. It'll be interesting to see what he can do with an elite receiver and another piece next to Darren Waller. But again, you're bringing in McDaniels. How are they going to mesh? Are we going to see some drama because does Davante Adams not fit with that system? I don't know. It'll be interesting.
I'm personally excited. I have Davante Adams as a keeper in my fantasy football league. And when I heard the news of him going to the Raiders, it was a head scratcher for me because I was just like, no, what? You're not going to leave the Packers? What? Rodgers just signed that deal. What are you going? Where are you going? Come on. But, however, he's there. And I think he can make Derek Carr a better quarterback. How good? I have no idea. I don't think anybody. If someone's telling you that he's going to make you a top 10 quarterback or a top 5 quarterback, that's a stretch.
And I guess that's my point is, yeah, Devontae Adams is gonna boost him a little bit, but does he fall into that top 10 category? And I mean, you
right.
got 3 other guys in your division that I think are better. So
No,
I don't
and I
know.
agree. And so I look back when Ruggs was on the team, and the passer rating, the QB rating, the A dot, everything was over. The QB rating was 101. His A dot was 9.2. And then afterwards, when Ruggs obviously no longer he got suspended, he had a QB rating of 86 and an A dot of 7.9. So he just stopped throwing deep. He didn't. It was very inaccurate. Obviously, there's a lot of off the field issues going on in that regard. I do think McDaniels and him will gel. They've had a lot of reports coming out of OTAs that they do like the playbook. Carr did say it's going to take some time. And that's why in this division, I don't think there's enough time for you for this year to waste. So you really need to pick it up and as you go. So that's where I would lean. So their over under right now is 8.5 wins. We were talking before stream. I think we would both go under here.
Yeah.
It's plus 100 on DK. Yep. So
you had said before too that they have one of the toughest schedules.
Yep, third hardest schedule in all of football, and the toughest division. So I mean, I feel like it's going to be a slow start for him. And if I'm wrong, I'm wrong. But I'm gonna be a little bit pessimistic here on the Raiders' offensive schemes to start the year. But I do see Derek Carr being. I think he can grow into it, and maybe mid-season you can get something out of him for fantasy purposes. If I'm drafting him, I'm waiting incredibly late. Could possibly be a target for me if I have Adams on my team. If you want to make a stack like that in fantasy, you definitely can, and you can wait. Probably that's the only way he's on my radar, unless he's a streaming option in a larger league.
Yeah, you don't. I mean, I draft quarterbacks late anyways, so
right.
I'm not touching him until 10.
Oh yeah, you got Brady and Rodgers going in the 10th round currently. Yeah. So I mean, it's just going to keep.
Reach?
Yeah, there's no need to reach here with Derek Carr just yet. I do believe he's going to have obviously good weeks, good big game potentials in this division. So enough of Derek Carr. We got the running backs here: Josh Jacobs, Kenyon Drake, and Zamir White in the mix here. We also have the coach coming over from the Patriots, who's made our lives a living hell with that backfield. As a fantasy person, I'm not very excited to roster any of these three guys. If you are in a dynasty league, Zamir White should be one of your top priorities. He's going to be the guy next year because they did not re-sign or sign Josh Jacobs to an extension. So you're really, it's just really tough for me to get to Josh Jacobs or to get to Kenyon Drake. I know you're going to disagree with me here, but my defense was, you're just not going to be excited if you're rostering Josh Jacobs as your RB2. Maybe RB3, maybe. But, I mean, I just – where he's getting drafted at now, I'm not going to have him as my RB2.
I mean, I kind of like – I like Josh Jacobs. I'm trying to pull up some of his stats here because ESPN's not being too friendly with – they just show like projections and stuff, but they don't show like his past stats. So been in the league 3 years. 2 times he's been a 1,000-yard rusher. He had 9 touchdowns last year, 12 the year before. And that's, I mean, yeah, Kenyon Drake's probably going to dig into that a little bit, but he's still a serviceable back. And I think Kenyon Drake can fit that mold too. So I don't mind those two. Again, I wouldn't reach for them, but if they were on my team, I wouldn't be too upset.
And we just don't know the usage. That's the problem.
Well, yeah,
we just don't know the usage. When Gruden was there, Gruden loved running the ball.
Oh,
Obviously,
yeah.
they're going to give it to Jacobs. But new regime, we have no idea what McDaniel's going to do. Is he going to flip the script? Is he going to go pass heavy? Is he going to go to the run heavy scheme? I highly doubt he goes run heavy. But there's a lot of question marks. So we go to their receiving core. We got Adams. We got Renfro. We got Keelan Cole and Demarcus Robinson now.
Mm-hmm.
And then to round that out, we got Darren Waller as a tight end.
Yeah.
I would say that's pretty elite. Renfro is a question mark to me to repeat what he did. I do like the under in receptions for Renfro at under 77.5. I just think he's going to get not lost. And I know Carr and him made a special connection last year. That was without Ruggs for the most part. He exploded once Ruggs was out of the lineup. You now put one of the best receivers in the game, if not the best, in that offense. It's going to be funneled to him. And I know McDaniels is known to have a check down with Edelman's, all those slot receivers for the Patriots. I got to see it again. I got to see it here. I don't think when McDaniels had Randy Moss and Brady, that was a show. They could go back to that with Carr and Adams and just leave Renfro aside.
Yeah, and I think that Keelan Cole is a pretty sneaky pickup because I mean, his numbers weren't great last year, but I thought he was a pretty decent receiver when he was with Jacksonville. So I kind of like that pickup.
Yeah,
but
he just didn't pan out.
Yeah, I agree with you with Renfro, though. I don't think he's going to have the same season as he did last year.
It's tough. Yeah, it's going to be very tough for him to do that. Obviously, he's not going to be the main guy that Carr's looking at. So that's where I like the under on his receptions at 77.5. I'm not touching anything with Devontae. I almost wanted to take his under on touchdowns. I think it's 9.5 or 10.5.
Yeah.
Because I took the over for Darren Waller's touchdowns at over 5.5 at -120.
And see, this is where you and I differ because I like the under.
I'm very optimistic with Darren Waller. I think give him a healthy year. An elite receiver coming in helps him more than I think it helps Renfro. He's going to see a lot of looks in the red zone. One reason I also didn't like Adams' touchdowns is because if you were watching a lot of Green Bay games, they had schemes for him at the goal line. A lot of times, Adams and Rodgers literally could just talk or didn't even have to say anything. They did a little signal, and they knew exactly what they're going to do. I know Carr and Adams have chemistry from being college teammates. We'll see how far that translates. I'm betting that Waller is going to get 6 touchdowns this year. I like that. His numbers, I know he's only got there one time in his career over that number. It's just this, with Adams there, I think it just completes the roster for Derek Carr and McDaniels to get Waller in the red zone pretty open.
See, and that was my point, was that he only hit over once in his career. Yeah, he missed 5 games last season, but the year before is when he had 9, but then before that was 3. I don't know. It's just I like what you're saying, but I think, if it's not broke with Devontae Adams.
Right. Oh, yeah. I get it, man. So, all right. Any last words on the Raiders before we move on?
I do have down here Derek Carr under 29.5 touchdowns.
That would breed off of the slow start we are predicting there. Maybe to get their feet wet with the new offense.
Yeah, that and sorry. He has only gone over once in his career.
Yeah.
He had 32 touchdowns 2015. Other than that, he has never thrown over that.
We'll see. We will see. Yeah. I do like the underplay there. I can definitely see slow start happening. Maybe not as efficient in the red zone as they need to be early on. Maybe they get around 26, 27-ish. So we'll see.
Yeah.
All right, moving on to the Broncos, the Denver Broncos. Probably one. If I would say it's either Miami and Denver are my two, or probably everybody's two teams that they want to see play the most this upcoming year. Because there's maybe the Raiders with Adams, but with Russell Wilson in a different system, an aerial attack system, I think this is going to be something special to watch. I'm not going to have a play on their win total. I think 10 is a good number. It's at over under is 10 and minus 120 on the over. They got the 16th hardest schedule. You obviously new pieces in there. You don't know what they're going to do, how long it's going to take to gel. Apparently, Russell and Cortland Sutton have established a very, very good connection in OTAs. We'll see how that goes. Then you got the two-headed backfield, which I think might turn to one head with Javonte Williams and Melvin Gordon, which is crazy for me to say because I had Melvin Gordon on my team last year for fantasy, and I loved him. I was just like, I know exactly what I'm getting from him every single game. You knew Javonte
every year.
Yeah, he has. You had Javonte one series, then you had Melvin the next. Like Fangio was just like, yep, we're going to do it this way. And everyone knows we're going to do it this way. We're never going to change anything. So as a fantasy football player, I love that. As a defensive coordinator, I love that. Like you got to change it up. So I'm not glad he got fired, but I'm glad there's a new regime in for the Broncos. I'm excited to see this team play. You got anything on how Russell's going to do?
Well, I'll talk about the division first because I do have a division prop for Denver. I like them over 3 division wins, and that's at minus 130. I mean, if you're going to get to 10, got to win some division games. So I like that. Now with Russ, I like his over 31.5 touchdowns at minus 110. I think that's definitely doable, especially with those two backs. They're going to run play action quite a bit. And then you got Judy and Sutton on the edge. And, I mean, he's done it several times throughout his career. So I think he can definitely get it done.
And then just to add to that, and he did it on a run-first offense. So now you flip the script. And I'm not saying they're going to abandon the run. They're going to – because I think Russell is a play-action king, and he has to have play-action to not make him work, but to be successful. So because he's not going to scramble as much as he used to. And he has a better offensive line in Denver. I think he's going to have a nice, clean pocket majority of the time. He's going to be able to step in his throws finally, find Judy, find Tim Patrick, find Cortland Sutton, Albert O. He's got all types of options to utilize. I'm very, very excited to see Russell Wilson. If you can kind of weight, he's QB9 in fantasy, so he's not going, Mahomes, Allen, Herbert, any of that like he used to. You're probably getting him a little bit more around the round before you get Brady, the round before you get Rodgers. He's that next tier quarterback that I'm definitely targeting. He's probably right when you get right next to Prescott. So I'm bullish on Russ. I'm excited for him to get going. And this backfield, is, like I said, I think it's going to end up being a 60-40 split, not a 50-50.
Which is crazy because they both had 900 yards last year.
And they had the exact same carries. It was like 203.
And they both catch the ball out of the backfield.
Yeah. And I was stunned when Melvin Gordon went back there. I was very stunned when they signed him. But you'd rather have him on your team than be on a different team and absolutely, do that against you because they know exactly what he can do.
And he finds the end zone.
Yeah. Yep. That's another thing. But I mean, you can't go wrong with Javonte Williams. He's one of the most elite running backs coming up, and yards after catch or after contact, he is probably, I think he's like 7th or 8th in the entire league. So he's a big, big back. He gets where he needs to go. I'm actually, I haven't taken this yet. I might wait a little bit longer once I see it in training camp, but I have circled down his over 975.5 rush yards for Javonte. Main reason, this will be another prop too down the road, is I played his rushing yards a lot on a weekly basis. So if I don't play that for a full season, I'm definitely targeting him on a weekly basis, because the books sometimes couldn't keep up with how Broncos were doing it. And if we can get ahead maybe a week or two in advance and cash pretty nicely on those two before the books come in, that might be the way to go.
Yeah, I like it. I think he did it. He was pretty close to it last year. So
yeah, I think it was like 903. He ended up 9, something like that.
So I got a question for you, because I've been back and forth on this. I was looking at props for Judy and Sutton, and they're both pretty comparable. Do you think that Denver will have 2 1,000 receiving yard receivers?
Whew, that is a great question. Can he do it? Can the offense withstand it? I'm going to say no, but it's going to be close.
So who
Sutton is going to be the 1,000-yard receiver. Okay. Sutton will be the guy.
That's going against ESPN, because ESPN has Judy at 1043 and Sutton at 959.
If Judy didn't drop the ball all the time, he might get it, but he drops too many damn balls, and you can't do that. You're going to get passed up. You got Tim Patrick right on your heels. If not, I've already passed him. Sutton has established this chemistry apparently already with Russell. Obviously, we'll see more with training camp. But right now, as we're doing this, I'm leaning Sutton. I would go Sutton, Judy, then Patrick. But Patrick and Judy are very, very close right now.
I like that. So I do want to say something real quick, because I know I've been throwing out ESPN projections quite a bit. In no way am I using that to base a lot of my decisions on. It's just one that I think it's an app that I think a lot of people use for fantasy football. So right. I'm trying to use that for listeners to kind of relate to.
Yeah, I use Football Guys. So shout out to Joe Bryant and all those guys at Football Guys. They do a great job. I use their pre-draft rankings, top 300. I use their draft dominator to customize all my leagues in there. I know exactly where I'm drafting at. If it's keeper league, I got my 2 keepers set in there. Football Guys, they're awesome. So shout out to Joe Bryant and all those guys doing a great job over there. So anything else on the Broncos? I'm very optimistic on that team. I think they come. This is going to be bold, but I think they go and finish second in this division.
They very well could.
That's just crazy to say, but I think so.
Yeah.
All right.
I do have one more. And it's the best bet of the night.
Oh geez.
Broncos first loss bet.
Oh yeah.
Which will come game 5 against the Indianapolis Colts plus 1,100.
They're going to start out 4-0 and then go to Indy and lose.
You betcha.
Love it. Love it. Plus 1,100. Everybody put that in. We want to see tickets. That's awesome. All right. On that note, let's go to the Chiefs. The almighty Kansas City Chiefs, fresh off their loss to the Bengals to not go to the Super Bowl, which I was stunned. I could not believe that happened still. Bunch of my buddies are Kansas City Chiefs fans as they migrated from Rams fans, as I stayed the lone Rams fan in St. Louis because everybody else hates them around here, but I'll be the lone guy. That's okay. This Chiefs team has a lot of question marks for the first time in a while. The 2 things that don't have question marks, though, Andy Reid's still there, offensive coordinator still there, and Patrick Mahomes and Kelsey are there. You got CEH, you got you got Rojo in there, and then you have receiving core that is kind of a bunch of wannabes for the time being. You know, Juju wants to get back to where he is. Marcus Valdez Scantling wants to be very good. Are they going to be that guy for him? I don't know.
Josh Gordon's there too.
Josh Gordon's there.
He's
I don't.
back.
No, not for me. Not for me on the fantasy aspect there. But can Patrick Mahomes continue to work as a top 5 quarterback in the league with what he has currently?
I think, yeah. I mean, it's Patrick Mahomes.
Yep.
This is his ability to get out of the pocket and make plays happen is what makes Patrick Mahomes Patrick Mahomes. Dude can put it anywhere. So maybe we see a little drop off, which projections are already predicting that, but they're still pretty close to what he's been doing.
Yeah. Oh yeah. He's my QB2 right now. I don't think there's going to be too much of a drop off in the times that Tyreek didn't play for the Chiefs. He still had, it was only 4 times. This is a small sample size. He was QB1 rated that week, QB3 rated that week, QB11, and then QB12. So the thing that I think changes this year from last year, they kind of got stalled on the offensive side of the ball because every team was playing the too high safety look against them with Tyreek. Now that's going to completely change. I don't think they're going to play that with MVS. I don't think they're that afraid of him to blow the top off the coverage. So how do teams play the Chiefs, and how does Mahomes react to that? And I think he's going to open up the playbook tremendously for this team. So on a fantasy level, I don't think it drops off very much at all for Mahomes. His receiving core, I'm still debating on what to do, if I want Juju or if I even want Marquez Scantling. Those two guys are just
the past couple years, and it's been so disappointing. So I don't know if I want to go down that road again.
Yeah, exactly. I'm known to have him in our fantasy football league, and it's like a running joke for me to have him because I loved him and I talked so much crap whenever he was doing very well, and I thought he was like the next big time receiver, and then he wants to dance on TikTok too much and not perform on the field. So
one thing that I kind of think is going to happen with Patrick, and we kind of saw it a little bit last year, was his interceptions were kind of an issue last year.
Mm-hmm.
He threw 13 picks, which was his career high. Does he force the ball more this year because he doesn't have that safety net with Tyreek? DraftKings has it at 10.5.
I don't think he forces it as much this year because he was more. I've never seen him more rattled than last year during the middle part of the season. And I don't think the league
clutch situations.
Right. And I don't think the league knew what they were doing too much with it. Like they're just like, yeah, we're gonna play 2 high safeties and that's it. Because it's a piggyback league. They're gonna see what helped the other team have success, and they just did it the same, and they could never adjust. Only thing they would do is just dump it off to Darrell Williams. So and then Patrick, which we were on a lot, or in VIP and on the Dot live show plays, there was Patrick Mahomes rushing yards. His rushing yards on a weekly basis cashed so many times.
Yeah,
I think it probably was more than 60% of the time that it hit, and it would hit with like the second or third drive of the game.
It was so low. It was like 13 or 20.
Mm-hmm. Yep. So you would sit back and say, okay, like I was thinking about taking his props future for rush yards for this year. I'm just going to wait till the books come out with it and see what they say. I think they're going to be a little bit higher to start. So I'm going to probably be off of them, and then I'll wait till it comes down a little bit, because I think they are thinking the same mindset where, he might be scrambling just a little bit more with a little bit less Tyreek. But so yeah, no drop off for Patrick on my end. The running backs here, I think this might be a hot take, but I think CEH has league winning ability if he stays healthy on someone's fantasy team. If you shake your head,
I hate this guy. I think he's so overrated.
Oh, he is.
My brother talks nonstop about how amazing he is, and I just haven't seen it.
No one has. That's
yeah.
But but he has the ability. We've all seen it at LSU, and I get it. It's not the NFL. He's been hurt. If he stays healthy, though, and you're looking at this backfield, it is basically him and Rojo. And I know Derek Gore is patiently waiting, and he is a very good running back. We watched him last year dazzle for a couple of series, maybe even one full game. He did really well. I still think he's
Jerick McKinnon too.
Yeah. Well, I think he left.
He's on their roster, isn't he?
I thought McKinnon and Darrell left. Let's see.
I think he's on the roster.
Oh no, he's an unrestricted free agent still. So he hasn't gotten back to him. But so if it's those three, CEH has all the makings that you want to have. He's currently rated the 29th running back. The 29th running back. I mean,
too high.
I mean, I think it's perfect recipe for someone to wait on running back, and you snag him, he could potentially win you leagues. It's a hot take.
Crazy because he always gets picked super early.
Yeah,
and I think that's part of the reason why I'm not buying into it, because I don't know, it's such a reach, and I haven't seen it. I'm a numbers guy. I'm taking under 6.5 touchdowns.
Oh, we're going to be fighting over CH all year. I'm good with that. We'll see. But then Rojo, you've seen what he can do. He's not a receiving back. So that's where I think CEH can take this backfield over. You saw Darrell Williams last year have multiple very good games out of the backfield, those dump offs. And you know Andy Reid can produce very good running backs. He had a 3-year stretch that he was probably the best fantasy friendly running backs coach there is. He likes to be not predictive, but he likes to roll with his guys and makes his plays with those guys. He's not gonna Josh McDaniel it. So I'm really, really excited to see CEH. It's just what I'm waiting to see it, and I'm optimistic about him. And I think if you guys wait on him in your fantasy leagues, it'll pay off.
Maybe.
Maybe. All right, so let's briefly touch on their receiving core. I think we haven't mentioned him yet, which is crazy. Sky Moore.
I was just looking at him too. I was going to bring him up.
So I'm usually very hesitant on rookie hype and going over and picking rookies. You don't make that trade for Tyreek if you don't think this guy's going to be something special. Plain and simple. If you're an organization and you say, "Oh yeah, I think we can definitely get rid of Tyreek for this guy," or get a lot back for Tyreek, obviously, but then go pick this guy up in the draft. You replace him with MVS. You got Juju. This guy moves the needle for me 1,000%. I'm going to be targeting him, try to get him in a lot of my fantasy leagues, because I do think he's got incredible upside, big time offense, and you can definitely see him emerging.
So you think he gets significant playing time with a lot of those veteran guys there? I mean, this is a roster where you can definitely work your way in.
Mm-hmm.
And he's projected to get 81 looks. So
I just think he's going to be one of those guys that Patrick falls in love with because he can get himself open, and when Mahomes is scrambling, Sky Moore is very elusive. He can get open. He can run deep route trees. I mean, he's everything that Patrick wants in a receiver. So I'm very, very high on Sky Moore. And I'll be definitely targeting him. I think he's currently the 70th receiver in fantasy on Football Guys, and some other projections have him like low 40s. So wide range of outcomes here. I'm gonna be bullish with Sky Moore. I don't think we need to go into the tight end position. Everybody knows Travis Kelce is the number one tight end in the game. Maybe the main question would be, does he see any slight drop off? Does he see any particular drop off with Tyreek exiting?
I mean, I think he's right there. I don't think anything happens with him.
Yeah.
Why
You're not going to
wouldn't
be
you
able
want to
to.
give this guy the ball? If anything, you're going to see. I think you see a little bit more input from him.
Yeah, that's exactly. No, I mean, I wouldn't even say more. I mean, how much more could he do? Because he's elite as hell. He's
Well,
tied
in,
in
in
one for the
comparison
last.
to projections, like
Yeah,
DraftKings has him at 1,100 yards, 90 receptions.
yeah, they're
So
they're
I think he goes over both of those.
right. I mean, you would be very, very. I mean, those are stupid high numbers for a tight end, but I think he
But he's
definitely could
done
do
it
that.
across his entire career. So
Yeah, and nobody's got chemistry like Mahomes and Kelsey. They've been doing it together for a while. Um, yeah, no need to be concerned if you have Kelsey. I'm actually going to keep Kelsey on my team over Kamara. So that's news for my fantasy
getting
football
rid
league.
of him, huh?
I can only keep two. So maybe someone changed my mind if you guys are listening, but
Are you keeping CEH? See the other one?
I think he's still. I don't think he got kept last year, and I think the guy who kept him got a little bit mad. So,
Oh,
but no, I'm going to keep Adams and I'm going to keep Kelsey. So 2 AFC West guys. We're going to have a lot of shootouts. We're going to have a lot of fun with this division. So it pains me to get away from Alvin Kamara because I picked him up when he was still a free agent in our league, like the second game of the year. And I just saw this guy and I was like, this guy's amazing. I mean, I was just like, it was like destiny. I needed to have him. And I never won the league with him ever. I had him and Todd Gurley when they were both in their primes, and I could not win. So I rebranded. My name was Lights Kamara Action. Now I'm Up and Adams. So rebrand. I have to rebrand and regroup. All right. Last team we get into will probably be another 5-10 minutes or so. The Los Angeles Chargers, my favorite to win this division. Yes, you heard that. Plus 220 to win the division. Please take that right now. This is the only team in the division that did not add or subtract a significant part of their team in this entire division. I think they start hot. They might fade a little bit in the middle, but then they figured out. Last year, they just could not figure out how to win. They've learned. They're going to learn from their mistakes. They're going to learn what they need to do. Is it Brandon? I think it's Staley. His fourth down efficiency is going to go through the roof. He's just not going to make stupid coaching decisions again. He cost them like 3 or 4 victories last year. And I think they're going to unleash Justin Herbert. So Justin Herbert's my QB3 this year. My QB3, I got Allen, Mahomes, then Herbert. But I'm very, very bullish on this team. You got the win total over 10. So it's the same win total as the Broncos. It's over 10 is minus 135. I'm okay with laying that juice. I really like this team. They have the 13th hardest schedule. It's the easiest schedule in the division. I'm all in on the Chargers to get back to the playoffs and win this division at plus 220. Please tell me you agree.
I can definitely see it. Personally, I'm not touching it just because it's a loaded division, so there's a lot of different variables. But I agree with everything you're saying. I think Chiefs are gonna have a little bit more of a down year. I think the Broncos will be exciting to watch, and I mean that does leave the Chargers right there in the driver's seat. So I do agree with what you're saying, but I'm scared.
I'm a little bit more bold. I got to be bold. So the only really big offseason change for them would be that they don't have Jared Cook as a tight end anymore. It'll be Jared Everett. He's a pretty good streaming option. He has potential. He never got there in Seattle, but I think the way that they use their tight ends here with the Chargers, you got Parham there still. the
See,
XFL Hall of Famer.
that was a prop I was looking for too. Was the Everett props, and they didn't have them
Yeah, they didn't.
because I was excited about that addition,
Yep.
and that was like one of the first ones I went and looked for. It's weird because the Chiefs receivers, the only receiver that had any props was Kelsey,
Yeah.
and now we're diving in here. Luckily, we have a couple receiver props, but
Mhm.
Everett would have been a nice one.
Yeah, but even with Everett, you got the two-headed monsters with Mike Williams coming back onto the fantasy radar last year. Everybody was thinking he's a boom or he's a bust because he couldn't do anything to get going. Then he started hot fire last year. 6 touchdowns in first 5 weeks. His receiving props, his receiving touchdown props sits at 6.5 for this year. That's one I'm still debating on. It potentially will be a play there. I really, really like Mikey Williams this year to pair with Herbert, who I think is going to be unleashed a little bit more and throw even more than what he did last year. That leads me to the running back position. So we'll touch on Austin Eckler because he can't be ignored. One of the best running backs in the league. RB3 in my book. Just his pass game. He scored 20 touchdowns last year, but he had 12 on the ground. He never scores. He won't score that again this year. He won't sniff that. If I'm sniffing any of his touchdowns, I'm going to go to the receiving side. And if you're going to get bullish, you can even take Herbert's over not pass yards, his touchdowns, because I think they're just going to unleash him.
Do you like Eckler's rushing yards? 800.
800. Let's see.
He hit 1,000 last year, and he's really the only guy they have. Like
So
CJ Spiller's not going to get in there.
I don't think he will either. I think it's going to have to be a true injury for Spiller or Kelly to have much of an impact on that running back field. But only way I see that, and I'm going to say yeah, because they might be blowing people out, and there might be some positive game scripts, and then you're going to see some more rushes. I mean, I know he only played 10 games, but in 2019 he played 16 games, rushed 132 times. So he played the same amount last year and rushed 206 times. That's a big jump, huge jump. Yeah. And his targets were only 14 less. So he just got more involved in the running game. He doesn't miss many games.
And he's Melvin Gordon there, and then he left. So he's the guy. Yeah,
he should not be. I'm going to use a double negative. He should not be not taken before or after the receivers in your draft. You should load up those top 4, top 5 running backs. He's got to be one of those guys. Has to be. Absolutely. Just with his complete package of what he can do offensively, catching the football, and then obviously his rushing attempts have definitely taken off. So, but TD regression is going to happen on that. Before in 19 and 20, he scored 4 rushing touchdowns. He tripled that last year. That just screams regression. Just screams it. So,
but they also had Melvin Gordon, who was the goal line back.
He's just not. I don't think he's gonna get 12. I don't see
it's
12.
A lot. It's a
it
lot.
Is. I don't even know what's his rushing touchdowns at. What is it? Let me see. Really quick. Austin Eckler.
Well, I was looking for his
8.5
rushing and receiving, and they didn't have it because I think that's the way to go.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah. So let's touch on their receivers. Keenan Allen, mainstay, still. I think he got rated like the 11th receiver, which, give or take, he's still in my top 10. He's just Old Faithful. He knows how to get open. He knows exactly where he needs to be to get found by Justin Herbert. They have a very, very good connection as well. I'm okay with going one more year with a good Keenan Allen wide receiver 10. I think maybe next year I might put him down to maybe the mid-teens. But I think this is the offense we were talking earlier. If the Broncos could do 1,000 receivers, this is the offense that can do it.
Yeah.
And it's shown that it can do it. So I think that can continue with Mike Williams, deep balls, Mike Williams, long post. Then you have Keenan Allen under in the slot, kind of doing a lot of other things to get everybody else open. But then you have two guys that are big-time flyers. And if you're playing DFS, you're playing fantasy, one of these guys goes down, and Williams and Allen, Palmer and Guyton could potentially be not league winners, but big-time wide receiver 3s, wide receiver 2s almost, barring injury. So Palmer, I would pick Palmer over Guyton, but I'm really, really excited to see Keenan Allen and Williams. And then if we do have to have a flyer, I'm taking a late flyer on Palmer late in the draft.
I do have 3 receiver props that I circled here. Mike Williams over 65.5 receptions. That's at -120. Keenan Allen over 1,050.5 at -115. And this one's probably going to surprise you a little bit, but I like Keenan Allen under 7.5 touchdowns.
It doesn't surprise me. No, I think I'm okay with that. I like that because
only twice in his career.
Yeah. And last year, what did he have last year?
6. It's been 6 almost every year.
See, and I feel like he had a lot more than I thought he would have last year. But that's because Herbert's throwing a lot more. So if Herbert's throwing a little bit more, maybe you see it. But then you got Everett in the mix. You got Parham. You got Eckler catching balls around the goal line.
And Williams blew up.
And obviously Williams, yeah. I'm trying not to say Williams too much because I want to take that prop and I want it to go down. No, but I'm very excited. And, we got Everett with the tight end. He is a late round flyer for me at the tight end position, or maybe a streaming option. Not nobody that I'm going to probably end up drafting. I think he's my 17th rated. No, he's actually my 22nd rated tight end. So he's more of a streaming option. I'm probably not going to waste a draft pick on that guy. But he has definitely big time upside if you see how this offense can play out.
Yeah.
All right, so that kind of wraps up the AFC West. I got the Chargers winning this bad boy at +220. If I'm predicting the order, I got the Chargers, Broncos, Chiefs, and the Raiders. So pretty wild. But the Chiefs would fall to 3 in my eyes. My buddies are probably going to laugh at me after this, but I'm just gonna roll with that. So any closing thoughts, any final thoughts you want to as we close the book on the AFC West?
I don't have anything more about the AFC West, but do appreciate everyone tuning in, and make sure you guys keep supporting us because we're trying to grow this thing. So the more listeners we get, the more this gets out, more shows we'll put out. And,
yes, sir.
Yeah.
And don't forget, props.cash, 25% off on the dot promo code. You get, 25% off your initial monthly fee. And then you're in with props.cash, and we cannot speak any more highly of props.cash. They have provided us with a great deal of winning picks just from their data alone. So if sometimes you're just, have a gut feeling on a pick and you want some reassurance, sign up with props.cash. I promise you won't be disappointed. So on that, we'll sign off. We'll be back on Monday night. We're going to record our next one as we break down the, I think we're going to go the AFC North. Let's go AFC North. AFC North. We're going to wait for your AFC South for next Thursday. So,
well, hopefully DraftKings put props up for it.
Yeah. So we'll still wait and see.
Took them down. So,
but I'm excited for the North too, because I got some hot takes in that one. So, all right, we'll see you guys.
All right.